Yo, this is Wall Street Weekly with BC PortCorp. Listen deeply, charts bleed reality. Green mixed with red, every ticker got a story, every dollar got a thread. Profits speak softly, losses scream loud. Bull markets whisper but the bears roar proud. Investing's more than digits, it's decoding minds. Patterns in the chaos, treasures you can find. Eyes wide open, stay sharp and precise. Cause easy money's myth, truth comes with a price. Watch the money flow, truth hidden in disguise. Risk what you know, wealth favors the wise. If you ain't thinking deeper than your pockets leak weekly, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Tune in to Wall Street Weekly. With BC PortCorp, we making sense of the madness. Truth in the numbers, clarity from the vastness.
Well, hello everyone. It's time for another episode of Wall Street Weekly. And as you can see, I've got a guest on today. We've got TradeFly on. He decided he could show up for about 30 minutes. So how you doing today, TradeFly?
I'm good, man.
Oh yeah, I know that, oh, they said you were muted. Could you all not hear him? Oh, I don't know what was, hold on, let me see if, oh, that's why. It wasn't on output, it was on, monitor only. So, try that again, TradeFly.
Oh man, see, setting me up for failure, man. I was like, I'm good on my end. But hey, yeah, like I said, it's good seeing everyone in the chat. Obviously, you know, it's a lot of people I know, which is super cool to see you guys. And looking forward to, like I said, talking some stocks, a little bit of TradFi, maybe a little crypto sprinkled in there with you guys. But thank you for having me on. Much appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. It's been quite a while since we've done a show together. So I think it was like a crypto nightcap, back when that was still a thing. It was like the last time we did a show together. So it's always,
Yeah, man, it's been a minute.
it's always a good time. I know we got that 25 basis point rate cut, and we have seen a little bit of some upside movement from it. How have you been doing with that? Did you take any trades yesterday? Have you just been riding it today? Or were you standing on the sidelines yesterday, kind of waiting for some dust to settle?
I mostly on the sidelines, right? And really I was just waiting for that decision to come out. I know we had a pretty high probability of seeing that rate cut, but I wanted to take a little wait and see approach. I knew there was going to be some volatility, which there was, even when they announced it, right? You saw that pullback initially as soon as they announced it. So it seems like a lot of people that jumped in with long positions probably got shook out there on the near term, but now it is acting kind of in accordance with what we were expecting, right? So ultimately, that was going to be what the market expected. I'm not going to say like it's super bullish, but the market was expecting that, right? And the market got what it expected. So therefore, we can kind of continue on happy-go-lucky. So yeah, man, I didn't really do too much. I've done little trades, man. I've only been doing like little $100 trades here and there. But one of them was AVAX, just trying to catch the move on that. AVAX has been super, super bullish, but that's for, another time. We'll save that one. But Bitcoin, man, came down to a nice little level where, I was looking for some support there as well. So I know I'm going crypto heavy right now because that's my main focus of trading. But Cardano, right at the tail end of my show yesterday, I was like, hey man, we're at a very nice trend line here where I see a consistent support as we were getting that trend, ascending level of support. And we also had a nice, I believe, horizontal, if I remember correctly. So I did take a play on that at the end of my show. But again, the expectation was to see the market move in a positive direction based off that 0.25%. And that's carried over into the NASDAQ, into the S&P today. Once that news kind of cycles through and everybody's like, okay, cool, we're good. We can kind of act the way we thought we could act. Now it's just on to the next piece of news. What's going to happen next to drive the market?
And I definitely think that next news that's going to drive the market is going to be the continuing watching of the jobs. Because, that was the whole reason for the rate cut. And we'll kind of have to see if we get that next rate cut. I do think, as you were talking about all the crypto, it lends a little bit of positivity to that alt space. We saw the Russell 2000 today make new all-time highs. So definitely more of a risk-on environment, but was kind of expected. Still can't get that yield down, though. Those bonds are not behaving accordingly. So even though Donald Trump got his rate cut, he's not getting lower borrowing costs. So I thought that one was a little bit funny.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. It's definitely interesting because if you peel back some of the language, right, that they released with the actual correspondence that they sent out yesterday when they announced the rate cut, one of the things, if you actually read it, is that they were still saying, hey, inflation is still kind of trending up. So it's a little counterintuitive right now for them to take a rate cut. I mean, I understand, the thought process, but it kind of goes against what Powell's been preaching the entire time. One, it is up over the 2% he has been talking about. They've kind of moved the mark a little bit, moved the field goal, we'll say, to kind of fit the narrative. But it's definitely interesting. I mean, there's definitely arguments on both sides of it. But inflation's still going up. Job numbers was kind of that, we'll say third piece to the puzzle that we were looking for to really kind of like go down. I know, again, it's like a lot of counterintuitive logic and thinking when it comes to it, but seeing those numbers go down and then that being a basis for a rate cut, in your mind, you're like, oh, that doesn't seem right, that like poor job data leads to a rate cut, but that is how it works typically. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll monitor that, but that's why people are starting to talk about this, the big R word again. I ain't gonna say it because YouTube don't like it all that much, but that's why you're hearing rumblings of that. And the macroeconomic data, which I know you focus on a lot, is not all that great. It really isn't. It almost seems as though, and tell me what your thought process is here, but it seems as though the stock market is kind of diverging from the reality of the economic situation.
Oh, it most definitely has. And I mean, if you've watched the entire world, uh, they started cutting rates long before we did. And the trend that you saw is the trend that we've been in. We got our first initial rate cut. Well, they had already cut rates, and then they were starting to see their inflation go back up, and then they cut again while inflation was still kind of a little bit sticky, but their jobs markets were a little concerning. And to kind of keep things going along, they cut those rates. Well, now you've got like the UK in pause mode because their inflation is not just ticking up, but like speeding up in how it's increasing. So it was 0.1%, now it's like 0.3%. Canada's going the same way. You've got a lot of countries in Europe going the same way. France is kind of on the verge of like a whole recession, and it is a little bit worrying because we're walking a very fine line here. You would really need to see those inflation pressures come down, And the big reason you're seeing that divergence from the stock market has all to do with the fact that the dollar's going down. So I've said it a lot, is your asset going up in value or is your dollar going down in value? And that's something we've been seeing quite drastically. Oh, S&P 500 makes new all-time highs over and over and over again, but like no one's really watching the fact that the dollar's making not new all-time lows, but like it is continuously making a trend of lower lows and
Yeah.
can't really get above it.
Yeah. I mean, the purchasing power of the dollar is drastically down. And you guys can see it. You can feel it. It's like you do your own litmus test. Like you go out and when you start going to the store and you start looking at your monthly expenditures, it hits you in the face. Right? Like I make drastically more money than I did probably 5 years ago. It feels like, and when I say drastically, I'm talking about like double. And I feel like it hasn't changed. My life, my quality of life has not changed at all. Like, because everything has become, so much more expensive. Like, and you can look and see that, like, things are 50 to maybe 100% in 5 years more expensive than they were before. And, that's very, that's a big issue, man. And so I think one, I don't think that they're being accurate in the numbers that they report. I don't think that they're including what reality is and what our main expenditures are. They include shit in the report. Sorry for cursing. That you're just like, I would never use that in the next 3 years, nor even think about it. And they're like making a big deal. Oh, it's down 7%. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't spend my money on that, man. Like, it's so rare. Like, give me food, give me, utilities, give me, stuff that matters, fuel for the vehicles, like oil, like that's all stuff in my mind that like that's our big insurance, bro. Insurance, what is this? Like insurance is through the roof. So yeah, man, it's definitely it's a battle. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not super excited, and I think that's why there's such a push, for the crypto narrative, like, because if you take it one for one, the performance of, just say, for Bitcoin in comparison to a dollar, it's outperforming the dollar by a country mile and then some, so, that's why I think a lot of us like it, because we're trying to be like, okay, like, where is it safe to park my money? And right now, over the past, I really since the inception of Bitcoin, Bitcoin has been the better asset to park your money. And so, I think that's why, a lot of institutional.
Hold on a second. It looks like he dropped. He is back. Let me get him pulled back up. Looks like you dropped for a second. I got you pulled back up there.
All right.
You're spreading too much alpha. They don't like it, TradeFly.
Yeah. Let's take this guy off the air. Let's take him off. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I just think as of right now, that's why you're seeing so much big money move into cryptocurrencies. Like, they see the value, they see the opportunity to make money. And if I can tell you one thing, like, you could be here for the charts or not for the charts. Like, when you see big money get into something, especially when we were looking at BlackRock and doing the ETFs and things of that nature, that should perk your interest. That should set off some alarms for you to be like, hey, like, if they're doing it, if BlackRock's doing it, then, I should follow. Am I going to catch the bottom? No, you'll never catch the bottom, but you can get on the train. You know what I'm saying? Ride the damn train until the caboose is about to fall off. And when BlackRock starts selling, then you start thinking about selling. And it's literally, it can be that simple at times.
Oh, most definitely. I know I've had several people kind of start asking about specifically Bitcoin because of the ETFs. And it's like, hey, should I dip my toes in? Have you kind of seen the same thing with at least Bitcoin? I know I've had like a few people out in the country where they're like, hey, Bitcoin, should I invest, or they say the other big name that they've heard is XRP. But like for sure, Bitcoin with the ETF, I've had more questions than I think anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've talked about this many, many times. You treat it like any other of your investments. You look at your 401k, you look at your IRA, and you can now make it part of some of these funds. Like treat it like an investment, man. Just DCA in. Like take that $50 out of your paycheck or that $100 out of your paycheck and invest. And if you feel the safest with an ETF and that's how you get your exposure, go for it. It's backed by Bitcoin. It's okay. Like it's okay. Do you have the Bitcoin? No, you don't have the Bitcoin, but like it's if you're doing an ETF, you're federally insured. So there's that ease of mind there. You don't have to worry about an FTX fiasco. Like that you can pretty much just dump out of your mind, which is it puts you at ease a little bit. And I really it doesn't matter to me how people get exposure to it. Yeah, holding the token's cool, like actually having the physical asset on a cold storage. But let's be real about it, man. Most people are not good at trying to hold something on a physical asset like a cold storage. So they're going to lose it. They're going to break it. It's going to get stolen. They're going to forget their keys. They're going to misplace their keys. Like there's so many things that can go wrong with that. And you can just be nice and easy and be like, hey, Schwab, I want to buy $100 of my ETF a month and just let it stack. And that's what I do with my 401k and my IRA. And those are two of my biggest holdings. Like, I won't say how much I have, but like I have very large holdings in those parts of my portfolio, and I would recommend it to anyone, honestly, and just take it one for one and just go through the historicals. And every time a financial advisor calls you, just be like, "Oh, okay, can you compare that to the Bitcoin ETF?" And they're gonna be like, yeah, so my fund doesn't quite perform that well, but I think it's a good one. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. Like, I got no interest, man. Like, honestly. So thank you for pitching your non-performing fund to me that didn't even outperform the freaking NASDAQ. So thank you for that too. And you want to take a 1% cut. Bye. It was good talking to you. So yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. I've heard it too. That's why I've never gotten with any of my jobs once, because they're like, oh yeah, well here's our 401k. I'm like, okay, well who manages it and can I see their numbers? And they're like, nobody really asks that. I'm like, yeah, what? It's my money. I kind of like it to grow. And it's like
Yeah.
I'm in one of the fastest growing assets in the world right now, and that's Bitcoin. Does it perform anywhere close, or what's going on? Because I could just put it in Bitcoin, and I wouldn't care that it's like not insured or anything like that. And I
Yeah.
think that's the trend we're seeing.
I would say like one of my regrets is when the ETF came out is not switching over 50% of my allocation in my IRA. So my IRA, I have a set amount that goes in my IRA every month. I should have switched because I have it diversified right now in an aggressive growth and then in a world fund. So basically it's kind of like, hey, if one goes down, the other one typically goes up kind of thing. It's conservative, but it's also aggressive, if that makes sense. It's conservative in the fact that, yeah, I have basically, it's like hedged against each other almost, but it's an aggressive growth funds. If you guys know anything about, when they pitch these IRAs and these funds to you, they're going to be like, hey, what is your risk tolerance? Is it aggressive? Is it like, do you have a high risk tolerance? Is it low? Do you want to be conservative? And that'll dictate on what funds that they put your money into. I wish I have allocated more is really what I'm saying. But I got my fund money, I've taken money, I've set it aside and be like, this is the money that I will allocate to my portfolio of crypto. I just wish that I allocate it more. I mean, and we should probably all do at some point, based on when you got into cryptocurrency. Most of us over the lifetime of us being in this asset class have seen it go up. And it's really hard. I mean, unless you're very new, and you bought, at the recent high at 124, 125, like you should be sitting in profits. I mean, you should be. Now, the other thing is too, and I've talked about this a lot of times, and I'm sorry I've turned this into crypto centric. But we're getting on the investment aspect of it, right? And it's something that people don't cover all that often, but you'll hear me talk about it a lot. Mainly, I talked about it more so on Piper Academy. But if you were to buy the high in 2021 for Bitcoin, 69,000 or so, right? You buy the high and you go through the bear market and you DCA down through the bear market, right? You can't give up. I mean, one, you're in profit now, but two, had you continued to DCA in on a weekly or monthly basis, think about 69,000 down to, where'd it go? Like 13, 14,000, around there, right? 16, somewhere in that area. If you're DCAing in down, you're lowering your cost basis. As it continues to go down, you're lowering your cost basis, which then puts your average somewhere in the middle there between 69K and about, let's call it 16 for round numbers, right? So you're somewhere in the neighborhood of around $30,000 or so. We can agree on that. You're in profit at that point. So now you're in profit and it's up to you, but you continue to DCA in. Now think about that. Your profits are increasing exponentially at current price of 117,000. So you've taken that 69, let's say you just bought a full Bitcoin. Well, now you have more Bitcoin. You got probably double that at this point, and you're sitting at 117,000. You can do the math. So to look at it now and to be like, well, I might be buying the top, stop it. Stop being silly. Stop being silly. Allocate your money and just DCA in. And as much as I talk about trading, the one thing that I'll always go back to and tell people very bluntly and honestly, DCA is the way. Okay. Like there is no strategy that works better than DCA. The only way DCA fails is if it really goes down substantially and stays down. And I don't see that in the cards for Bitcoin, not in the next 5 years, not in the next 10 years. And we can all look at ourselves and be like, hey, where do you think Bitcoin's going to be in 5 years? You're going to say higher than it is now. Where do you see it in 10 years? Probably double where it is now, right? And that could be conservative, but like we can have that honest conversation because of it's a finite asset and say, yeah, in 10 years, I'm going to be substantially in profit from where I'm at now. So why not DCA the whole time? You know, and you can do that. It's just as easy to do that with NASDAQ. It's just as easy to do that with the S&P 500. Those have consistently returned profitable over, like, I can't remember what the statistic was, but it was almost, I think it was the S&P, like it was almost impossible to be unprofitable if you invested something. I want to say it was like 9 years ago or something. If you were to DCA, like it was like impossible, no matter what you did, what kind of crazy stuff you did, like it was just impossible. And so I see, you know, NASDAQ, the S&P, they'll probably continue. Like there's going to be blips in the radar. And like there's times where you can jump in. Like we had the tariff fiasco. You know, that was kind of like a black swan that really brought the market down as a beautiful opportunity to jump in and start DCA or exponentially increase what you were DCAing at that point, right? Like you sometimes treat it like, hey, I'm putting $1,000 in, or I'm putting $100 in, I'm putting $100 in. Whoa, that's a big ass dip. Should I sell? No, you shouldn't sell. You should buy the fear, right? Buy that, because when you really start studying the psychology of the market and you read about some of these OGs in the space that are really trading habitually and like they know what they're doing, they tell you a couple things. And you'll hear me say this, right? My entry is your stop loss. So that minute you're thinking about selling that asset and you want to get out, or you've set that line in the sand, that's where I'm thinking about maybe I should double my investment, right? And I find these zones, right? I have like buy zones that I'll put on the chart and I'll be like, ooh, that's that area where there's liquidity. And that's why I'm so big on liquidity too, is because that is literally people exiting or being pushed out of the market because they have a stop loss there, or they have a leverage position where they get liquidated. So when that happens, you know, that is when institutions like to buy. That's their MO. So why not be part of that mindset? And so, you know, I would say if you take a DCA approach, one, you're most likely to succeed. Trading is not the way for most people, in all honesty. And that's why when I allocate part of my portfolio, by all means, it is not by any, it's a small portion of my portfolio. It is not a large portion of my portfolio. I just very much enjoy trading. But when it comes down to the tried and true method, what has TradeFly really made money on? Like how have I gotten to be like into the millionaire club? It's DCA. So and then I've rolled those profits into real estate as well. And I've been able to pay for some of those properties, with, like we finished that cycle with 2021. We're coming off the highs. We're getting that pullback in the market, going through a bear market. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, I rolled some of those profits in. And not only that, the only thing about trading that you open up the door for, in my mind, is that when the market turns and you are good at identifying the market, or you can figure out the market, and you know that you're in a bear market, and the odds are you don't see the turnaround until you break some kind of trend, right? You're seeing a trend. It's very clear as it's working its way down. Then you kind of say, all right, I can make money on the way down. And so the only tangible benefit that I saw with trading vice DCA is, yeah, you guys continue to lower your cost basis, is I was just able to make, I think I made about $19,000 as it was working its way down, vice losing, right? I didn't lower, I actually added to my portfolio by trading. But honestly, when it comes down to it, DCA is the easiest, most profitable way to weather the storm, and in the long run end up being profitable. I would not say take your 100% of capital and dump that in right now. Like that's silly. So I funny story. I have a really good friend I grew up with, and I was simulcasting to Facebook, and it's not funny, but it is a story. I was simulcasting to Facebook, and he hits me up. He's like, bro, I'm gonna dump into XRP right now. And I'm like, whoa, dude. I was like, pump your brakes. Because I think he had like $3,000. I was like, if you're confident in it, you feel very strongly about XRP. I said, do this. I was like, draw this level for me, this area of support. It will come back and retest it at some point. I promise you, because it was up over the $3 range. I was like, at some point, it's going to retest that level for sure. And I marked a few lines out for him, and I was like, I want you to ladder into this, because he was gonna go all in, right? I was like, it's either he's like boom or bust. I'm like, just break this up for me, man. Break this up in a few different buys. And what he was able to do by doing that is like, okay, cool, have a nice area of support. He took that, I think that initial, and then he had another, and all three of those target areas got hit as we've just had this recent pullback. But he was able to lower his cost basis and get in. So it's not a true DCA approach, but it is a very much along those lines. And there's just multiple ways to do it. But again, I just always go back to, if you're new or if you just don't have the time, like it's so hard for me to do a 9 to 5, and I work overnight. It's so hard for me to do that and then still be an active trader. Like it's really hard. So when it comes down to the bulk of my portfolio, I would say DCA, hands down, man. So very long-winded answer, and I'm sorry for taking too much time.
Not a problem. Oh, and it's definitely true. You can DCA on a whole bunch of assets as well, like you had mentioned. I believe in like the past I think it was like 40 years or so, the S&P 500 has had like 2 red years. And like that's it going down the entire year. And those are the years that you would want to, buy a little bit harder, and you'd be absolutely better off for it.
100%. So it's like Piper's DCA plan, right? You're familiar with that. The dynamic DCA plan. It's following the same principle. All right. When it starts to pull back and the market is pulling back, that's your time to actually buy more. And, I've had that conversation with my mom. There was a point where she's getting towards retirement, or she is retired now, but at this point, right? Like at this point, I was kind of heavy into trading and financial stuff. I won't say financial advice, but like she knew I knew my shit. And she was talking to me and she was like, my portfolio is down so much. I was like, buy more. Like, I know it sounds counterintuitive. I was like, but buy more, because she wanted to roll it in. So, in the government, they give you these funds. And so some of you guys might know this, or you might not know this. If you have a government job, you'll know. But they'll give you the worst, pretty much the worst, most conservative fund up front. Like, it's the one everyone's in. The performance in comparison to some of the other funds it's just not good. And I had a financial advisor come up to me one time, or not come up to me in particular, but talk to a group of military individuals. And he was like, "You're all stupid." And that's how he started off the conversation. It literally was like, "You're all stupid." And we're like, we look at each other, we're like, "Well, no, you're stupid, man. Who are you? Like, you want to fight?" But he started explaining it. And he was like, "Hey, like, look at the performance of these funds. None of you guys have ever taken the time to even do the research and look at the performance of these funds." And so she wanted to roll away from what was essentially more aggressive growth in a time that the market had pulled back, the bear market of, I think it was like 2022. And she wanted to sell. And I was like, no, 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 you continue to buy. If they let you to continue to buy before retirement, you continue to buy, you weather the storm, you lower your cost basis, and you stay in that fund, because it will turn around. It will turn around. And, that's, again, like, it's the power of DCA. Had she rolled into a more conservative fund, like if she rolled into something that was going to be less performing, then once that market turned, what would have happened? She would have never gotten all of the money back, and she she probably wouldn't have been profitable. Like, so it's, you gotta stay in. That's another thing too, is like, unfortunately, like, you gotta weather the storm. Like, you gotta keep your exposure, and you gotta continue to do what you believe in. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah. And we might be having that time coming up here extremely soon, especially if we don't walk this narrow road that we're walking with inflation increasing and them cutting rates the correct way. You could have one of the best buying opportunities in not just crypto, but the stock market as well, that we'll probably see for the next 10, 15 years if they don't walk the road correctly. And that's something a lot of people have talked about, and we'll just kind of have to see. I will definitely be going balls to the wall if we get any kind of dip. If we get nice 30% dips in the stock market, you best believe I'm selling absolutely everything I can and putting that money into the market and into Bitcoin. So
yeah, man. Yeah, no, I completely understand. And I just, there's no amount that's too little. Like, there's a lot of people like, well, I don't really have a lot of money, and I understand that everybody's financial situations are different, but like, $5 is fine, man. Like, if you can consistently put $5 a paycheck in, you're still turning that $5 into something more, like, over the long run. And it's going to be worth more than what that $5 would be worth in, a few years anyways.
I mean, I've
So
actually gotten a few of my buddies into investing by just telling them, I'm like, bro, you buy a pack of cigarettes every couple times a week. And I was like, just give up one of those packs of cigarettes and put that money in. And it's like, I'm wanting you to be healthier, but I'm also trying to show you what that $5 can do over the next year. And they did it. And now they're like, hey, well, what do I invest in next? I'm like, so, you know how I told you about Bitcoin? And it's a easy path to get them to, it's like, hey, let's expand your financial future and get you from what you've been doing and complaining about to sacrificing just $5 and having something that you could potentially quit your job on when you get to retirement age, because that's something a lot of people stress over. I was like, the rate of people saying they're going to work until they drop is astronomically high now. So
yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And some people though are wired that way too. Like, one of the things I'm discovering, and this is kind of a different subject, but like, some people are just wired, man. Like, they want to work. Like, I'm finding that out. Like, my wife's father, like, I'm just like, yo, it's time. You got 2 retirements. Like, it's time. Why don't you spend some time with the family? But like, he associates himself with that work too. Like, it's kind of wild. And he's sitting on pots of money. Like, it's very, very interesting, the dynamic for some people. Not my dynamic. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, when I can be fat and sit on the couch and eat bonbons, like, I am ready. It's just, you got to have the income to support that lifestyle. But yeah, man. So, hey, we're pretty far into this. I don't know, like, do you want to hit some charts? I do have a couple areas, I think NASDAQ and what else? NVIDIA. If you want to head over to some of the charts, man, I can show people that before I get out of here.
Yeah, sounds good. Let me get over to your screen share real quick, and you can show the people what you got. I know you talked a little bit about some NVIDIA when we were talking in the background, and then I know there was one other one that you had talked about.
I think you had mentioned Tesla, but I'll go through and I'll keep it very, very quick. Super quick, and just confirm that you do have my chart up.
Yep,
We good?
just
All right,
switched that
cool.
over.
All right, sweet, man. So if I know most of the people that are in here, they have seen my show before, so they are going to know a few of these levels already. But for those that are new or that don't watch my show as much, I have a really nice level here for the Nasdaq, and it's really just coming back down to retest the high of the previous range, right before we had the whole tariff fiasco. Now we're getting to a point in my mind that like this probably may not happen anytime soon, just because of the exponential move of the Nasdaq is just literally. I mean, it has been so bullish. It's unbelievable, to be honest with you. Like the move from here to here is insane. But if it were, so just understand me, how I work. If then statement. You do have the dynamic reactor, right? That is, I'll give you guys a little bit of alpha too. So, and again, those that watch my channel, they know, but let's do this. I'll teach you something real quick. So chart prime, right? They have something called the dynamic reactor, which is essentially what most people thought an algorithmic conglomerate of moving averages. I'm here to tell you it's not. It's just the EMA taking HLCC divided by 4 and then setting to 128. That is the dynamic reactor. So there you go. Gave you a little bit of a freebie there. That is a paid for indicator. But you do have that aligning with about the 20,000 to 20,200 area, top of the previous range. A lot of times you will see that the top of the previous range has to be respected. It'll typically at some point come down and retest. So what I'm thinking is if we do come down, let's say we have some kind of event that drags us down, there's inevitably something will drag us down. This is going to be a really nice spot. And me and BC are talking about, hey, where's a point you could double down in your DCA, and kind of increase that, the capital that you're putting in. This would be a nice spot. All right. I really think you'll get a reaction out of that. I think by the time we actually see price action come down, dynamic reactor is probably long gone. It's probably the 200. The 200 is probably working its way up at that point. And I just think that's a really nice spot to at least just mark on your charts and look for a bounce out of that zone. For NVIDIA, another one, it's kind of far away. We can see, like you see the price action right now. It is setting some lower highs, lower lows. It's very clear. We did have a nice bounce. Weird enough, off the Intel news, NVIDIA has actually bounced off of that. But here or there, you can see that the price action is starting to roll over a little bit, right? So as of right now, the trend is starting to work its way down and right. That's very clear. You do have a nice horizontal though. You have a nice horizontal at about 164. Yeah, you can play that. You can probably get a bounce out of that. But like if you want something with like high confluence, high probability, it's very similar in nature, right? You come back off on the chart, you're looking at, hey, this range high, all right, coming back, retesting that level. And the other thing that I like to look at is that not only are you retesting an area that was very clear resistance, but look at this, right? You had a breakout retest that really certifies that level. Okay, so breakout retest, that tells you a lot. Like, okay, this is an area that people are going to be looking at, a psychological aspect of trading. And so the expectation is that you are going to get some sort of positive price action out of that area. So I will be looking for a long position. I don't know exactly how low this will go, within this zone, but you also have the 0.382 as well in that area. So I think it's very probable to get a nice little 2-to-1, 6.8% move if we were to come down here. And vice versa, if we do break this horizontal level at about 164, it would, in my mind, open up a short down to that level as well. So you may front run it a little bit, and you look at this moving average here, which is the dynamic reactor. But again, I really like that level, and that's at about 154. 154 is probably where I'd send an alert. At least, taking a potential long out of that area. So just gotta wait, see how you interact with it. It's something.
And he dropped again. Hold on a second. Let's see if he gets back. There it is. I don't. You just dropping all the alpha, and it's just too much. You're getting censored.
Doesn't like me. But yeah, man, like that's a nice little zone, I think, to take a long out of. But oh yeah, so back to what I was saying is, he was asking me like, where do you think it's gonna go? You think it's gonna go down here? I was like, I really don't know. I really don't know if it is. I stay out of the prediction business. What I do is I find key levels on the chart, and then I examine the reaction. And so by that, what I'm saying is like, hey, if we come down here, and if you see a wick, buying pressure come in very quickly, once it interacts with this level, then you kind of get a good idea. You get a little bit of a warm and fuzzy, we'll say, in the military, that the potential is that you could get a nice, move to the upside, and you'll get some bullish candles on the backside. And that's the things that you look for. If you see an impulsive move down, like if you see something where a candle moves to the zone very quickly, like this, like it's a really a beautiful example. When I'm talking about that, is just look at this from the inverse, right? You'll see the candle going down through that zone, price going up, but look how beautiful it played out with the breakout retest. And you would look for something like that right here. All right. So you get this nice extended body of the candle here through this zone. If you get that candle that falls through that zone, then that's a good indication, right? It's not a wick. You're getting a full body of a candle. Like that's going to be a really good indication that, one, you're probably going to set a lower low, and two, that you're probably going to see continuation in the price action until the trend is actually broken. So, it's not just about identifying the level. It's about identifying the reaction to that level. Tesla, I know that was the last one you had mentioned. I haven't done much TA on Tesla over the last week, so this will be live. This will be live. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, nice rip towards the upside. That's why I was asking, because I know you'd be doing TA on it, and I was like, oh, well, we got to move. So what's you got now?
This is, I do remember talking about this, I believe it was last week, and the structure was just really, it was bullish, right? Higher highs, higher lows. I remember talking about that. And we broke out. And I know some people would say that's a bearish pattern, but what I see really, yes, the structure's there, but you're also, you can manipulate it, right? You can fit the narrative if you want, and to say you're an ascending triangle. Like, so up to you. But what I see with this, the more important part of it is really the ascending level of support. Consistently riding the moving averages, consistently working its way up, and away. And then you could see this. This looked like, this is not like this, right? Clear rejection, clear rejection, clear rejection. This said, whoa, hold on. We're going to chop this one down, right? Like it's showing you, like, look at it's just a dramatic difference in the way that it looks with the interaction with that level. So not saying I called that, benefit of hindsight at this point, but here it is, man. You get that nice impulsive move through. Now, this is not one, to be clear, had I played this, I would have been out here. Like let me keep it real with you. I definitely would have been out there, and I would not have bought the breakout, in all transparency. So what do you do now? Like, now that you see this, well, this is clear as hell, isn't it? Like, it's going to, at some point, it should come back and retest this level. You got to be patient. You got to wait for it. You could see it go up. Right now, this is actually bullish. If you're looking at this is bullish because you see another ascending level of support. It's showing you pressure to the upside. I prefer this. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, we got a bull flag. I say a bull flag, I would say, in my mind, is probably a little bit more likely, unless you're on longer time frames, like, and it's more like dramatic, like on these shorter, 4 or 5 day periods. A bull flag I don't like. This, though, when you see that ascending level of support, I do like, and I see that as bullish. But coming back up on the chart, the issue you run into with that is, you're bullish, but you're coming right into a horizontal level, right? And that's pretty clear. And what I like to do on the charts is I like to group the price action. So I'm looking at that right now. And what I'm looking at is, oh, so you got the group of price action here. And then you got this little breakdown, comes back up, retest, continuation. Right. So that right there shows me that this is a pretty important level where we're at right now for price action. So two things you can look for in my mind is one, do not take a long right here. Not financial advice, do your own damn thing, but don't take a long here. I would wait for a breakout retest of that level before you look for that continuation. I would not be enticed, honestly, to take a long, even really on the retest. But if you were to take a retest, if you just got to have your Tesla, you wait for that breakout retest. But honestly, down here is the level that you're looking at. Patience is key. It will come back. Trust me, at some point, it will come back. We've seen it before. Tesla is volatile. It just takes one stupid move by Elon or one gripe with Elon to bring it back down. And then you got to find a nice technical level, that would provide you support. And you have both a trend, a horizontal, and I don't even have a Fibonacci retracement level on it yet. So who knows? Let's see. Let's do that. Let's just see if that lines up as well. So we'll take that last low, we'll take it to the high, and yeah, that puts you around the golden pocket as well. Saying that this is the pivot. And, that's a large assumption at this point. But yeah, man, I mean, that's probably a nice level there. And that level in particular is about 370. I would put your alerts maybe a little bit on the top side of it. And then again, it's an evaluation. Put your alert. Once it interacts with that level, then you make your conclusion and draw your bias. So there you go.
Well, thank you for that, Tradefly. I know you said that you might need to head on out. So if you do,
yeah, man. Yeah, I'm gonna catch up with the family. My daughter, we do kind of like a hybrid homeschooling. So I go down and check on her, see how the work's going and all that stuff. So yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on though, dude. Sorry I went on a couple of rants there.
Not a problem. I appreciate you hopping on. I hope everyone enjoyed that. And if you ever have the time and we're going live and you want to hop on, you are always welcome to come on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you again for having me on. Good seeing everybody in the chat. Hope you guys have a good day. And yeah, man, you take it easy, bro.
You too. I'll see you next time.
All right, man. Later.
All right, everyone. So I'd have a few news articles I wanted to go over. We will kind of go through those a little bit quickly, and then we'll get to some TA on my side. Might run a little bit long, but I don't have any time constraints today. So I'm going to have some fun here, and we're going to talk some news. I had a few big news articles I really saw that were quite fascinating. And one of those is the reason that we saw Intel pump almost 30% today. So let me get that screen share pulled on up for you. We've got NVIDIA and Intel announced jointly developed Intel x86 RTX. It's going to be a new AI chip. And NVIDIA dumped $5 billion into the Intel stock to get this deal going. So we're going to have to watch this one closely, but this is why, if you watched that Intel stock, which we've been talking about actually in both LBC's Discord and the Piper Academy Discord, this is what got that giant rip towards the upside. $5 billion deal to make a brand new AI chip to kind of keep things flowing. NVIDIA is the best in the game when it comes to making AI chips, and Intel makes some very, very good processors. I personally would have went with their competitor, but not a bad choice. Definitely a very big partnership that can definitely shake up the AI space. I'm not going to dive too much further into that one. Headline kind of says it all. $5 billion deal to make some new AI chips. And this one I thought was kind of interesting. We've heard several times about drone deliveries. Well, Uber is trying it all over again. and they've partnered with the company Flytrex, which is not publicly traded just yet, but this is the company that they're going to be partnering with to make new drone deliveries. So I'll be keeping my eye on this one. Might be buying a little bit of some Uber if this goes successfully, and then I'll be waiting for Flytrex to potentially go public, because this is a big one and it is the wave of the future. You will be seeing a lot of money being made off this, especially since you take out some of that human component. Definitely going to be watching this news story develop. But we did have a few charts that were wanting to go over today, and a few of those I've talked about before. Let's scroll it on down. I believe it's in my portfolio one. There we go. FIG. I talked about this IPO. We are on the wrong one there. Hold on. Let's get over to this one and actually get onto the stock one. There we go. And we've got FIG, which IPO'd not that long ago. Back here in August, they got their IPO. They had a nice little pump off of it. They IPO'd at $32, got a massive pump up all the way up here to $142 before we saw some decent sell-off. This is a competitor with one of your big software companies, and that's going to be Adobe. So we are seeing FIG find some support here at our platinum pocket, breaking into a very big CME gap right now, and we're waiting to see if we can get back up to the midline here. Midline coming in at $61.32. We are looking a little bit toppy on the higher term time frame. You zoom that back on out to the 4 hour. You're seeing a little bit of some toppiness here as you're getting that movement towards the upside. Money flow looking nice and green though, so could definitely see that little bit of continuation up to the midline of our CME gap before we start to see a little bit of some rejection. It's no flat zone, so yeah, I'm not sure what that one was about. But definitely looking for that midline to get hit before we start to see some rejection there. 4 hour looking a little bit toppy. Hourly also seeing a little bit of some toppiness there. But I do want to pull this on up. Look at that money flow. Absolutely incredible. And heavy dark green, seeing a little bit of some topping signals here, but doesn't mean you can't continue towards the upside with how that daily was still had a little bit of room to run. 4 hour just starting to kind of see a little bit of toppiness, and that 1 hour definitely saying you could see a little bit of some pullback. But money flow here, even on the 15-minute, maintaining quite nicely here above those highs from back there. So continuing to see some inflows on FIG. Definitely a stock I've been paying attention to. Did a little bit of buying here at the Platinum Pocket, and that's why I wanted to kind of bring that one up. We did have a few requests. I believe those were in the crypto side of things though. So let me get my notepad pulled on up. We had a few requests to take a look at. Let's see what those were. Scrolling on up, we got K Diggity in here. He said BTC uses too much energy. Well, nuclear is going to change that. So we will scroll on up a little bit further. We had, oh, there they are. TRX was one of those, and File. So FIL and TRX. Do we got any stock requests anyone would like me to take a look at either? I know if you've been trading with a BTCC, they've got some stocks over there that you can do some trading on. Absolutely love trading some stocks on there with the futures. It's a lot of fun, and using a little bit of leverage is quite fun on a stock, you know. Definitely a little bit of an option that I don't always get in my traditional markets, so been a big fan of it. But File, TRX, let's hop on over to this real quick. I did want to show the Russell 2000. I talked about it earlier, made some new all-time highs. Yeah, K Diggity trying to get a BC rant. Not today, sir. We got a little too much going on right now, you know. Maybe you get me going tomorrow morning on Good Morning Crypto, and we can have a little bit of a BC rant there. But I'm trying to get focused back on some TradFi here so we can see what's going on, because this is a big signal for your altcoin markets. I know it doesn't get talked about near enough, but this Russell 2000, your small cap stocks, making an new all-time high here. You're seeing this nice big bodied candle here on the daily, really trying to find our way above that last all-time high. As you can see, we're pretty much sitting at that real quick, and we're waiting to see if we can hold this area as some support there. Let's zoom this on in. That daily does look like it has some room to continue towards the upside as we're getting that break of the MACD above our indicator line, and you're starting to see that curvature on the prime oscillator. Zooming on into this hourly, you are seeing a little bit of some toppiness there, but looking like you could definitely see some continuation here as that volume's starting to increase, and it's doing so with all these big bodied green candles. So looking for a little bit more upside here. We do have a target above that we'd want to keep our eye at, $2,569. If we can see continuation on the upside for the Russell 2000, we can definitely get some continuation towards the upside on some of these altcoins as well. That's why I like to focus on some of these indices. There's a little bit of some correlation there. Let's see, 100x gang. I have not in a while 100x on any trade I've taken, but you know, BTCC allows me to use some 50x leverage. That's what I did on a gold trade when we got that interest rate cut yesterday. I was in a gold trade on some 50x leverage, and it did absolutely amazing. It was quite fun trading those traditional markets with a little bit of leverage there. Let's see, we had a few alt requests, and then we got any stock requests. We will dive into those in a second. We had TRX requested, breaking above our 382 there. Let's zoom this on out, take a look at this daily, see what we got going on. Dang, been on a nice trend towards the upside there. I saw that price action said all set, absolutely crazy. Nice strong move off that 50%. You can see that there if you zoom it on in, getting those nice little candle bodies on top of that 50, and seeing that 382 come in as a little bit of some resistance, but we're trying to break above that right now. You're getting that, you got a little bit of curvature on the prime oscillator that's curving back towards the upside there. Really waiting to see if you can continue towards the upside with some nice green money flow. Trying to break above the 382 right now. You got that MACD showing momentum back towards the upside here as we break above that zero line or above that indicator line. We're printing some nice heavy green candles here on our histogram all over again. So really waiting to see if we hold this 382 there. Let's zoom that on in, see what that hourly is looking like here. Hourly seeing a little bit of some toppiness on our prime oscillator. Do see a little bit of sideways momentum coming in on that MACD, but nothing too crazy there. Would look for a little bit of some rejection all over again at about 35.5 cents, and then see if we hold that 382. Let's get those horizontals drawn on out. That seems to be an area of resistance from back here as well. So it does play out from all the way back there as well. We'll get that drawn up here though. That's going to be our short-term area to kind of see some resistance at, maybe continue on towards the upside. Above that, we do have a few areas as well. Going to be coming in up here, 36,866. That's where we get some nice solid rejections off of as well. That's a few areas to kind of keep your eye on for the top side. if we don't hold that 382 after a rejection of 35 cents. Looking back down below our 382, we do have some areas from over here at about 34.3 that I'd keep my eye on. That's where we get some rejections from. Rejection here, rejection there, rejected off of it there, as well as we try to get some sideways consolidation, and then we broke above it, turned it into some support, and kept on towards the upside there. So 34.337 for that bottom side. We had file as well. BC TRX thoughts on 2-week. I don't hear that very often. Let's get this. We got a weekly chart pulled on up here. Let's see what we're looking like. Seeing a little bit of sideways momentum on the weekly. Are getting some nice curvature here on the prime oscillator. Volume holding steady. Let's see what we got here on an even higher time frame there. Just nice solid continuations towards the upside. Monthly does look like it can continue with the MACD. Seeing some sideways momentum on that prime oscillator. Volume is a little low on the monthly. You can kind of tell that from the smaller candles that have been printing there. But if we can get and hold that 382 as some support on a higher term time frame, could really get that nice strong move back towards the upside there. So let's take a look at that 2-day as well. 2-day looks nice for a little bit of continuation if you hold that 382 to about that 34.337 level. So if we can maintain this area here, could really get that nice strong move back up. Seeing where that next area is, we got some extremely strong resistance all the way up there. That'd be an area to kind of watch for as well, all the way up to 43 cents. So hold this, might see that get all the way back up there. Might see a little bit of resistance along the way, but the overall trend is looking towards the upside there. Let's see, add a custom interval. Minutes, we'll go weeks and 2. Let's see how that one's looking there as well. 2-week, we do have a bearish divergence, but definitely looking like that volume has come down just pushed the wrong button. There we go. Back to the chart there. We're seeing a bearish divergence on the 2-week, but volume holding quite steady. So would like to see that hold that 382 to get all the way back up there. Few resistance areas in the meantime on the shorter term time frame, and that's where I'd really look back towards the upside if you can continue on up. 236 also coming in at 38 cents there as well. So that's another little area to kind of watch for some resistance. We straight blasted through it and then dropped back down immediately to create this whole fib retracement level range. So that's an area I'd kind of keep my eye on. This is pretty much all untested on the higher term time frame. Daily, you can even see it was an immediate push up and then a drop back down. So a lot of untesting. Could see a lot of testing going on in this area. Try to look for assets in the red. Hashtag financial advice, says Dutchy. Hey, that's not a bad idea. 5G in Burnwick, Mississippi. What's that about? Is that it? Let's see. Without looking, Drift probably did a 25% pump, and now Jesse is interested. Oh, that's what that one was about. Well, let's take a look at File first, and then maybe we'll pull up Drift as well. Let's see. File. We got Filecoin here. Oh, look at those nice, beautiful lows. Holds the lows quite nicely, though, so that is something to kind of be a little bit positive about. Holding those lows at $1.97. So nice strong bottom there. Could definitely see some moves towards the upside if you can break above these highs from back here, which we're trying to now. Let's get that zoomed on in a little bit. so we can get a fib pulled on up here. All right, we got the high to the low. We'll get the low there. If it magnet tool, yep, looking like that 236's resistance. So $3.49. If we can turn that into some support, could definitely start to make our way back towards the upside. We got a big fair value gap above the 236 as well. So that's that area I'd really like to see us hold. I know it's not, I know you're missing out on some percentages there, but I'd rather be a little bit sure on the move instead of risking and seeing that 236 come in as some resistance there. We'll get that drawn on up, make sure it's purple so we know that's a fair value gap there. Been a while since I've looked at Filecoin. Was all the rage in the D-Pin project, and then getting a little bit battered down there. So nice wick to wick. Almost the entire 236 to 382 region is a fair value gap there. So definitely a little bit of an area of resistance to kind of keep our eye on. We do have a few levels in between here and there that we will need to get above as well. Let's get that first horizontal drawn on out. Make it a little bit thinner there. $2.75. That's the first one here. We do have $3.02 coming in as that next little area to kind of keep your eye on. Definitely some strong resistance directly above us, but it does look like you could continue towards the upside if you get this nice curvature with some money flow, making another little bearish divergence there. Burnwick lol. Let's see, yesterday on a nice retrace and looked strong, so got interested. Oh, on that, what was that? Let me find it. Drift. All right. So few little resistance areas above us on the daily. Let's see what that hourly's looking like. Hourly's a little bit nice for some continuation. Would want to watch that money flow. We are trying to see a little bit of some cool off on those oscillators. As you can see, you are making those nice higher lows. Really seeing that nice flat top for resistance above us though. So $2.75, that first real level to get above there. Let's see, you said drift. Let's see if it's on here. What is this degen stuff you're getting into, Jesse? It's on. Is it this drift protocol? Back had to change on fire here. Yeah. Let's see, drift protocol, or this one up here with Binance, the drift without the protocol. So that's that one little problem with these cryptos. Sometimes there's multiple names saying the same thing. Yep, drift protocol. All right, Jesse. Dang. Getting some nice strong moves towards the upside there. Seeing the lows from here kind of come in as some resistance. Those candle bodies. That's why I like those candle bodies. Pulling horizontals from dailies. Look at that. Come in as some nice strong resistance at 98.2. So nice strong resistance from the lows back, the equal candle body lows. Really waiting to see if you can get back above that there. You are kind of in an upside trend now. You are having those higher lows, and really waiting to see if this is that higher high and then make another higher low there. Have we looked at Tesla? Oh yeah, Tesla. Yeah, TradeFly did Tesla. I had to make sure. That's such a small screen there. It gets hard to read the chat sometimes. There we go. Now I can read it better. Control plus. All right, we've got the highs to the lows over here. Dang, look at that. 236 as well. So nice confluence there. Really need to get above that 236 at 98 cents and then get above that. We do have some resistance kind of up at the 50. So would really like to see what kind of moves we can get above that. If we reject off of 98 cents, we do have some lows from back here. Let me undo that magnet. That magnet tool pisses me off sometimes. It's like I'm not trying to have it zoomed to all of those. We got 76 coming in as a little bit of a support area. If we get some continue to get some rejections off of drift protocol. Steve Hickey, glad you had some time to spend with us today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Shortlist trades says says Dutchy. Yeah, looking like some nice strong resistance at that 236 and that strong resistance area as well. Got a bearish divergence here. You do have your money flow holding up quite nicely though. So and could see that 76 cents really come in as some support there. If we get that drop back down, you do have some shorter time frame support areas to kind of keep your eye on here. Let's get that drawn on out. Coming in at 86 cents. We'll make that a short-term time frame one. Nice and thin area to see some bouncing at. That is where we got 4 equal candle bodies there. Rejection on those candle bodies. So 86 cents being an area I'd kind of watch for us to come back for support first. If we lose that, then coming all the way down to 76 cents will be a nice strong area to kind of keep your eye on. Definitely a nice solid area. Pretty much the halfway point between our bottom and the 236 there as well. So let's see. How's Disney doing after bending the knee to the regime? We can take a look at that one as well. Let's get on over to our stocks here. I know I've got it here somewhere. Is it services? There we go. Yeah, it doesn't seem overly affected. I love how you said it there. Bending the knee. Whoa. Still in a little bit of a sideways trend here. So we do have resistance directly above us at $126. Let's get that drawn on up here. That's where we got 3 touches off of it. 124.48 going to be our strong resistance area. We are consolidating quite nicely, and daily is coming in with a little bit of a bearish divergence. Money flow in the red here. So would probably want to look for some bottoming points here. Let's see where our CME gaps are aligning on up. Might need the magnet tool for that one there. Yep, magnet tool on. Let's see where that CME gap, first one is coming on in. We've got the CME gap here. Let's make sure that that's blue because that's what we color CME gaps around here. That's a nice little area to kind of keep your eye on directly below us. Coming in at $109.87 to $106.19. We do have another one directly below that. Coming in all the way here. Let's see, make sure it's nice and zoomed in. There we go. All right. So a very big one below that as well. Coming in at 102.09 to $92.11 there. Let's get a fib retracement pulled up for this current range here. See what we got going on. So looks like the 382 coming in at the midline of our top fair value gap here. So a nice little area to kind of watch to see if we can get some bouncing off of and try to see if we can get back up to the 236. If we lose that, does look like the 236 is holding as current support for now. With everything going on, might see that continue towards the downside though, especially with that money flow here on the daily. Let's get that pulled on up there. You can see that money flow here on the daily really heavily in the red. Let's see what this looks like on a higher term time frame though. Let's see, we got the weekly here. Weekly looking a little toppy as well. So let's see what we got going on. money flow staying in the red, has been in the red for a while. So definitely have a few areas below. Golden pocket would be a nice little area to kind of keep our eye on for the current range, $97.08. Also the midline of this big fair value, this big CME gap as well. So a few areas for the downside to really keep our eye on. Looks like $124.48 is our very strong resistance for now. Let's see if we got some macro ranges above us to kind of keep our eye on in case anything kind of comes from that. We do get a flip on what's going on. Let's get that other fib retracement hidden there and see what we're looking at. So 236 also coming in at the CME gap we were just taking a look at for the top side. Kind of coincides with the midline there. If we can get above, we do have that 382 coming in directly above that 126. Definitely got a few little upside targets to watch above that as well. 50% line and an old CME gap kind of lining up kind of close there. Let's get that one drawn out as well. This one is going to be a closed one though. All right, that's going to be our closed CME gap. Basically, the whole 382 to the 50% there is a old CME gap. So an area of resistance above us there. Bro checked his Apple Watch stats. Oh my goodness. Are y'all? Oh, yeah. 7.3. Let's see. Jesse's probably got me beat. I got 4.5 hours of sleep. Woo! We running on like no sleep. That's the normal though, you know. Weeks are for getting stuff done and weekends are for getting sleep. So let's see how much you had on third. Oh, you're specifically asking all these all the days. LBC getting no sleep because of that kid. Saying rub it in, Jesse. Hey, Jesse gets more sleep than I do, and I don't even have kids. So I don't know what that man's on, but he gets some good sleep. 3.5 hours, he said. Oh, dang. So not that great, but definitely getting a little more sleep than I did the other day. Let's see. Do we have any stock request or any other request we'd like to see taking a look at? If not, I'm going to take a look at CoreWeave here. I know I've talked about that a few times, and we did get some nice moves back towards the upside here. And then we're probably going to wind the show on down, and we'll see you bright and early on Good Morning Crypto. So definitely looking like you could continue towards the upside here if you can get that money flow to slow down on that selling pressure there. Things get delulu after day 4. Oh my goodness. We've got a bearish divergence here on a hidden divergence here on the daily time frame. Really waiting to see if we can hold this 50% line. You do have a giant CME gap above us. Let's get that on the shorter term time frame there so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. We got this giant CME gap directly above us and one directly below us as well. We're holding the top side of this CME gap up here, but if we lose that 50% line, we've got a nice CME gap to fill down here. So let's get that one drawn up as well. Make sure that's filled in because it is not closed. We got that nice solid move down to the 50% and got that move off of our CME gap there. So CoreWeave looking a little bit nice if you can hold this 50% line here for a continuation back towards our CME gap. That's all the way up at $146.50. We are making those higher lows and really trying to make that next higher high here. So 382 is looking like a little bit of resistance, and that's going to be that first real strong area to do some battle with. Let's get that back to the daily there so you can see what we were looking at. Getting that nice break above our 0 line and staying above that indicator line as well, but really just waiting on some money flow here. We did get that nice bottoming indicator down here at our golden pocket, really trying to see that continue on to the upside here. That next strong resistance level coming in at $133 there. Let's see what that 15-minute is looking like and the short-term time frame. We are seeing a little bit of some toppiness here. So to really come back down, close this our current CME gap at $112 might be something to watch for before we get some continuation back towards the upside there. Just been noticing some stuff on CoreWeave. And then before we wind it on down, let's take a look at that Intel chart here because dang, Intel on fire. Giant CME gap here that we will have to pay attention to. Let's get that zoomed all the way in and get that drawn on up. Make sure it's locked. Our 50% of the CME gap looking like $27.99. So an area to see some retesting on for Intel would be that $27.99. If we continue to see a little bit of some pullback there, let's get this pulled up on the daily time frame. See what we're looking at for a fib level for our current range. We got the high to the low down here, looking like that. 382 is that area we're trying to hold right now. So we are sitting above it for now, really waiting to see what happens at that. If we do break below it, seeing that CME gap come into play, that 27.99 is going to be that area to kind of watch for. If you break below that, watching to see that closed, 24.80.83 would be a nice little area to kind of keep our eye on. We did have this giant CME gap here. We've pretty much filled that one, so this was a nice sideways range. Would like to see us break into it, really see some sideways consolidations there. This is flipping things around for Intel. We were looking a little bit nasty here on the higher term time frame. We had before that news some nice little curvature, some double divergences stacked up, and a peak seeker. So that 236 was looking like our resistance area. Got that nice strong move towards the upside. Let's see, from down here to up here, 28%. So nice strong move towards the upside for Intel. Could get a little bit of some pullback there, really retest that CME gap before we try to make and continue our way back towards the upside. Let's see, any other alt requests there. You're all posers in the sleep games. LBC. Jesus. Someone sounds a little bit jelly. It's a peak seeker mapping. This over here. The blue dot, is that where you're talking about there? Use the dark side, it will fuel you, says All Set. Y'all just having all the fun in the chat. All right. Well, thank you for tuning on in for another episode of Wall Street Weekly. We did an hour, 20 minutes, and Jesse wants me to keep on going. Okay, one last request, Jesse. We will take a look at hype. Let's see what we got. AVAX as well. Fine, we will do 2 more requests, and then we'll wind that on down. So we had hype getting that move up above our 1618. That's an area we had talked about. Got some nice continuation off of $45.08. That was that nice strong bouncing area that really launched us up to that 1618 there. Let's get this zoomed on out. Take a look at that daily time frame. Getting some nice strong moves towards the upside, making some nice higher lows, higher highs. Really waiting to see if this does have a little bit of some pullback. If we can't hold that 1618, that's coming in at $57.79. Let's see what we're looking like on the shorter term time frame. We do have a little bit of some hopium for some continuation. As you see that prime oscillator getting that curvature back towards the upside there. You do have that 4 hour, seeing a little bit of a bounce on top of the 1618. But you're seeing that nice little top end signal here on our prime oscillator, and that MACD seeing that sideways momentum starting to come in as well. We'll really need to watch the money flow on hype. If we do start seeing some selling pressure stepping on in, could really lose some of these levels with some strength there. Has been on an absolute tear. To see some pullback occasionally, not too unexpected. $52.70 would be that level to the bottom side. I would first keep my eye on, and the level below that coming in off of these touches down here, coming in at about $49. $49.69 there. Ooh, that's a nice number. 49,696. All right, so that's that next little level to the bottom to kind of keep your eye on. Let's see what was. Can't wait for our future debates, BC. I mean, I think we'll have a lot of fun with it, especially since we're not, neither of us are against freedom. We both believe in freedom, and we kind of are against anyone, either side, stepping on freedom. But we do have a few little differences in kind of how we think some problems should be solved. And I'm still reaching out to a few people to see what happens. What is that what the cool kids say before taking bong hits? Oh my goodness. Where's my popcorn? Oh my goodness. Y'all having way too much fun. Freedom costs money, says All Set. It most definitely does. And freedom isn't always free either. You gotta put in some work. You gotta put in the groundwork. You gotta sometimes do things that you aren't always willing to do. And that's how you keep your freedom sometimes. We have been having, me and LBC having a little bit of fun on some Facebook. So that's what that one was about. And we've got some big things planned in the background. So keep your eyes peeled. You might be seeing some new content heading your way. Not crypto related, but life related. Really being able to sit down and have some conversations with a person that doesn't always agree with some of the things you have to say. At the end, both understanding the other person, and even if nothing gets solved, at least the conversation was had and you can find some common ground. Facebook boomers, hey, I dabble in all of the platforms except for TikTok. That's about it. That's the one that I still haven't messed with. I've never had the TikTok app. I don't think I'll ever have the TikTok app. Might have to stream on TikTok though if we really want to get that one big. Could really get some big viewership on TikTok with something like that. Might get a little bit of hate, but definitely some viewership. We are seeing some resistance at our current levels here. $59.41. Looks like Hype's a local resistance area. That's going to be that level to really get above and retest there. Make that a little bit thinner so we know it's the short-term time frame. Pick me, pick me, pick me. I love saying things that people don't agree with. That's straight intuition. Hey, you're more than free to come on. It's more a conversation-based show where we kind of talk about where things are. We talk about a few hot topics. We really kind of discuss how to fix the current state of how everything's been going, and maybe sometimes have a little bit of disagreement, but doing so without vitriol for our fellow man, because that's where we see all these problems. We're all human, and just because you have a different idea of how to fix a problem doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that you have a different idea of how to fix a problem, and at the end, everyone kind of forgets the fact that they wanted to fix the problem. It's like no one wants this being a big problem. That's why we're discussing it. But they kind of forget that that was the whole discussion topic to begin with, was fixing a problem. And just because someone wants to do it differently doesn't make them a bad person. They just have a different idea of how to fix the problem. So Hype looking like you could get back towards the upside if you can break above $59.41. Is looking a little bit toppy there on the 15 minute, the 1 hour. looking like you could continue towards the upside there. So would really like to see that break above and continue off of. If we do see that reject off of it again and continue towards the downside, that $52 is a nice area to kind of keep your eye on. Let's see what that fair value gap is there. Let's get that drawn on out for you. We got this one coming on in, and there's the bottom side there. Color it purple. That's a nice little area to watch for some retesting. Midline coming in at $56.13. What was that other one you got? You asked for hype, and then let's see. Where was it? Y'all's chat's moving so fast there. Joe saying facts. Yeah, I mean, I don't think most people are generally evil. There are people, of course, that are evil, but for the most part, I think everyone is a human and would like the best for their fellow humans. They just have different ideas of how to get there, and just because the way to get there is a little bit different doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different idea. And at the end of the day, if you can't discuss it, kind of see what the flaws might be in one way of doing things or the flaws in the other way of doing things, then you might never actually figure a solution out. You don't always have to have a solution. No one actually has to come together at the end of it and agree. You can agree to disagree and still be friends with someone, but that's not what we're seeing anymore on the internet. It's if you disagree with me, you're this or you're that or you're this or that. Drift, we took a look at drift. It got that nice strong move towards the upside, and then I can't remember what the levels were that we had talked about. Drift protocol on Coinbase. Remember, it was that 86 cents was that first level to kind of watch for the bottom side, and then 76 cents below that if we don't hold 86 cents. So he did drift. Let's see, AVAX. Let's get back to AVAX real quick, and then we'll wind that show on down, because you had said that AVAX got a nice strong move towards the upside. If it would switch, there we go. AVAX getting that nice strong move up to our resistance level from way back here that we were keeping our eye on, $34 and basically 50 cents there. So that's that area that we were looking for some resistance. We do have an old fair value gap up there as well. We did create a fair value gap on the way down. We did close that on out, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't get retested. Let's get that drawn on out. We got a fair value gap from here to here, pretty much in line with that golden pocket for the midline as well. You did see that come in as a little bit of some resistance at the top side there. Let's get that zoomed on and see what it's looking like on the hourly. Yep, got that nice little resistance there. Broke through, have not come back and really retested the top side of that closed fair value gap. Let's make sure that that's closed there. There we go. So if you can get and hold our current area here, get that continuation towards the upside. Let's see what this short-term time frame area is. $33.52 would be the area to hold. Try to get back above $34.50. Let's make that a little bit thicker there. I don't know why it was on a 2. That's that short-term time frame area to kind of watch for some bouncing. $33.48. If you don't hold that, coming back down, really retesting that old fair value gap would be that move to kind of watch for. This hourly is looking a little bit toppy, so could definitely see that little bit of a pullback to the $33.48 point. 15 minutes. Definitely a little bit toppy as well. Would have to scroll out to that, not the 12 hour there, 4 hour there, to see any ability for some continuation towards the upside. You're seeing a little bit sideways momentum on the prime oscillator, but that MACD really getting that nice strong break towards the upside. See a little bit of some pullback, not too unexpected. Daily also getting that same curvature towards the upside. So really watch that money flow if you get that pullback to 33.48 to see if you're going to continue back towards the upside, or if you're really going to get that strong move back down and see if we retest the top side of that fair value gap there. $32 is going to be that top side there. All right, let's wind that show on down. Let's see. Orange Man equals Korean Rocket Man. Oh my goodness, y'all have so much fun. Correction, it's the Constitutional Republic, LBC says. Most definitely. You know, everyone says democracy, but you vote for a representative to go and represent you, which it's a mix of both the representative and constitutional republic. So there are some aspects of democracy to it, but it is not a full democracy. You don't get that one for one vote to every issue. We streamline a lot of it. Let's see, late night shows were definitely already on the way out. Most definitely. It doesn't help that you know, everyone kind of knows that you're only saying things that really push your agenda in either direction. They're not funny. None of them are. None of them have been funny for a super long time, whether you're right or left. That is why you saw the rise of podcasts. People can actually speak their mind. They're not censored. They don't have to toe some line in one way or another. If I have a viewpoint that's outside of what the party line is, you don't get canceled for it if you have your own show there. So yeah, he was kind of on his way out. 10 viewers and a stage is all sound effects, clap here and there. Yeah, also very, very scripted. So thank you all for tuning on in for another episode of Wall Street Weekly, and the one viewer on X as well. So appreciate you tuning on in. We will see you at the next one. Make sure to trade safe. We got some heavy data coming out next week, so we will get you all caught up on that data tomorrow morning. Let you know what to look for next week. Until then, trade safe.